I'm John Hanna for CDTV.net here in New York City, and we have Cary Bullock, the CEO of ThermoEnergy Corporation, joining us from Worcester, Massachusetts. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, John. It's great to talk with you.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. And so, sir, first of all, let's get to know the company. What is your company?
It's ThermoEnergy. We're engaged in the wastewater treatment business as well as the energy industry. In the water industry, our focus is recovering and reusing valuable resources from wastewater streams, thereby providing a better industrial ecology, but also reducing the cost of treatment. On the energy front, our focus is providing a technology that enables the clean combustion of coal by capturing almost all the emission products, most notably CO2. So that's really what we do.
Okay, so you have multiple areas of business. Does one complements the other one?
They do in a way, although one is really a here and now business and the other is a development technology with through partners. The water business is one the company has been in for a long time. Historically, it was in the metals area, so it would recover metals such as chromium, copper, zinc, and nickel. And this was very good for our customers because by reusing these metals, they could reduce their cost by as much as 90%. Today, our focus, at least on the metals area, is more on rare earths and transition metals, which are much more valuable today just because of supply constraints. For example, China controls a great deal of the rare earths, so the ability to recycle and recover them out of industrial process streams is better. Our focus today in the water side, though, and we've got probably 30 systems just on the metals recovery out of probably the 70 that are out there operating today, and the company's made other systems as well. The focus today really is on two other elements that are valuable. One is removing ammonia out of industrial, municipal, and agricultural waste streams. And you can do a lot of things with ammonia, but most notably you can make fertilizer out of it. So making fertilizer out of it allows us to reduce the cost of treatment. Now it's important to get the ammonia out because historically when we discharge the ammonia into the wastewater, it gets into the groundwater. Finally it flows into the ocean and creates these dead zones off the shores like the Chesapeake Bay and also in the Gulf of Mexico. The other area today, so focusing on ammonia today is very important. We have a big project in New York, roughly a $27 million project for removing the ammonia out of the water before it flows into Jamaica Bay there. Very important because that's a recreational area. Another area we're focusing on this year is removing glycol from aircraft de-icing fluids. Excuse me, stopping there for a moment. We've all been on planes where you're on and they're de-icing them. A lot of that, about 50% of the mixture in that aircraft de-icing fluid, or ADF as they call it, actually falls onto the ground, has to be collected today and properly disposed of. And so what we can do is recycle that glycol at a fraction of the cost of new glycol. So it's that we believe is going to be a great cost-effective offering for airports both here and in Europe. And actually, we already have customers who do that today. So those are our areas and what we're about. And we're very excited because we think those are going to be increasingly growing areas just because they're sitting on top of a lot of trends today that will propel us forward.
Okay, now let's go back to your initial opening statement, which is pretty much recycled or clean water. You mentioned New York as one of your customers for your other parts of your business, but who is your primary target customers for the clean water projects that you have?
The primary customers are really people with anaerobic digesters. And a lot of those will be wastewater treatment plants in the United States on the municipal side. There'll also be biogas plants here and in Europe. In Europe, many years ago, there were a lot of biogas plants built that were motivated by the feed-in tariffs that started initially in Germany. Today, those plants still have significant ammonia discharges, and they're paid to take it away. We believe we have some offerings where with some number of that population we can offer a good payback to treat it differently. In this country, we're beginning to do those kind of biogas plants. There are not nearly as many as have been done in Europe, but they're beginning to happen. So we have a lot of relationships with people who are building those today that look very good for a place for our technologies to play. So if you're thinking about places where the technology goes, it's going to be going with people who are buying anaerobic digesters or have them already. And that typically is going to be a municipal wastewater treatment plant, a biogas plant in this country, or an agricultural plant, which may be dealing with its waste there to make other things as well. But those are our target areas in the U.S. and also in Europe.
Okay, so you have those target customers about those particular parts of your businesses. Where's the revenue going to be coming in? Because you mentioned already that some of the parts of your business are still in the technology side, some of it are running right now. So where do you see revenues?
Revenue will be in the water business. The power business is really much more of a developmental business. And the revenues really will be probably principally, in the next couple of years, it'll be principally with ammonia recovery and glycol recovery. And a lot of that's just driven about where we see the need in the market and where people request information on our systems.
Okay, so currently what you have right now in operation, are we able to generate some profit of what you have currently installed?
There's on the New York project, there's certainly a positive margin contribution. But we're not a profitable company today. That is something we're hoping to do in the next 12 to 18 months.
Are you operating on full cylinders right now with your company?
We have a group that is very busy delivering on the New York project. We have some industrial projects we're delivering on, and we have a group that's busy out selling new projects. So in the sense of we're certainly doing what we can and expect it to grow.
Okay. Now, the other thing that I would like to discuss with you is that now that you mentioned China with the rare earth minerals, where do you see that? I mean, that's in the technology phase right now, right? That's still in development?
No, well, actually, our initial projects in China will probably be in the ammonia removal. We signed, I mentioned this in the prior investor call, we signed an LOI with a major Chinese municipality for doing a pilot at one of their landfill sites, basically for ammonia removal, recapture, turning it into fertilizer. But it's the kind of site that could grow into a New York class project. So I think the ammonia area will be one that will be an early one, but we're also busy proposing with partners on metals related projects as well. And that's, of course, as you know, from the last 12th five-year plan, there's going to be a tremendous amount of money spent by China in cleaning up their water.
Okay, so pretty much the New York right now is the biggest project that you have in place at this time, right?
That's correct, yes.
And you're looking to get more projects with other municipals because once you have this thing up and running, it's going to be a demo pretty much. Like you can say that, hey, we're doing this to New York City. Maybe we can help you guys as well in your local municipality.
Yes, it will certainly be a demonstration project. And although it's a large project, I think New York saw it as a demonstration project when they purchased it as well. That they pride themselves in bringing in and trying out new technologies, and this particular one had many things to recommend it as compared to the existing conventional way of doing it. For example, it took up a lot less space, like 25% of the space. It has no odor associated with it. Well, if you're in a city and this wastewater treatment plant is in the city, that's very important. If you have to shut it off and turn it back on, it comes back up very quickly. Traditional plants do not. So it had a lot of benefits there, plus the fact that it was about half the cost. So we're very enthusiastic about that as a demonstration, although I would say it is quite likely that we'll probably have a similar type project, a little smaller but similar, in the industrial setting before that, just because building in a municipality takes longer to get things up.
Okay, where do you see the company by the end of this year and next year?
Well, the end of this year, we expected to roughly double our sales, and we'll be on goal for that. What we're hopeful we can do next year is triple what we did this year, and we're just cleaning up to see where that is. But that's what, and we're still feeling okay with that. And of course, the other aspect of that is to begin to improve the bottom line. We don't think we'll achieve getting profitable this year, but we think we'll make a lot of progress so that next year we will be able to do that. So that's in terms of just kind of qualitatively where the numbers are. With regard to being in markets, I expect that within these two markets that I've mentioned, that we'll have certainly other installations beyond the ones we've got, because they're probably shorter projects, because many of them are really in industrial settings or an airport setting where it's a small focus project, that they can go in much faster. So we'll validate that these are two good areas for our company to be in as well, and be able to validate more going forward with the following year. And I expect that we will see a lot more in foreign markets. We're getting great traction in Europe today. I must say that when I first came here, roughly 24 months ago, I thought that Europe would have dealt with many of these environmental problems. I'm delighted to see that the equipment we have today and the offerings we have actually have a lot of use and benefit over there. So our sales groups over there are finding good traction there. So I expect that we'll begin to see projects in Europe. The company traditionally has not been in Europe. And of course, I expect we will have completed our pilot in China and be well on the way to other things that are larger there with our Chinese partners.
Okay, so now are you selling your shares within the next 3 to 5 years?
I wouldn't be selling shares, no. I think it's a long-term type growth opportunity.
Okay, that's Cary Bullock, CEO of ThermoEnergy Corporation, joining us from Worcester, Massachusetts, and I'm John Hanna for CDTV.net in New York City.